Hey YouTube, Billy here. Today we're going to do a review slash tutorial on how to play Lords and Knights. This is an MMOG game. It's available on Android and on the Apple products on the Apple store. I'm not sure if they charge on Apple. I know it's free on Android. Basically what this is you have a castle, you develop your castle, you increase your troop strength, you increase your resources ability, and then you can begin attacking other castles. The object of the game is you team up with other players, you form alliances, and you go out and you attack other players and other alliances. And it's a long-term strategy game. This is not a game that you get on and play in a couple minutes or a couple hours. This is something you play here and there a few minutes during the day. You can put in as much time as you want, but you can do it, with a few minutes here and there during the day, a little bit in the morning, a little bit at night or something, and some days you don't even need to play at all. And over time, you begin to develop and build, and you build some friendships online too with people. Looking at, you form these alliances, and you're out there fighting against other alliances. So it's a fun game to play. This is just going to be a basic tutorial on how to get started. So right now, what I'm going to do is I am logged in. You can log in via Facebook. You can log in. This right here is for Facebook. Below this, it tells you the server you're going to log into. Right now, I'm set up for USA 7. And I'm just coming in off my screen what I have. My guy right now on USA 7 is the Repo Demon. I actually am... When you start the game, you fall under beginner protection, which lasts for 2 weeks. During that time, no one can attack you. They do that so that you're not getting reset by... the big guys right off the bat, the big dogs. So what we've got here, this is our beginning screen. Once you go to where I was at, I'm going to move this up just a little bit so you guys can see the top as well. Good. Okay, so once you go to where I was at, you touch the screen, that takes you to the screen here. When you're new, it'll start out with a basic tutorial just to get you going. And then from there on out, you enter on this screen. This is your home screen. This is the inside of your castle. And I'm going to do a quick cover of this. Up here, you have your ore mine, and we'll click on it here. Tells you that's your ore mine. That's where it produces ore. That's used as it's a resource that you generate. Over here is your stone mine. Down here is your woodcutter. And over here is your farm. The ore, stone, and woodcutters are the resources. That's what's running the game for you. That's how you advance, create troops, and purchase things. The farm is where you generate additional, the ability to have more troops or more drawing a blank here, citizens in your castle. So you need these, and that is tracked up here at the top right there. There's a little person with a number next to it. Right now, my guy has 255 available. You start out with one castle. After you develop a bit and you want to take a second castle, you need 1,000 silver to do so. You'll start out with 500 silver at the beginning, and then you build off of that. After you take your silver's up here, that's where I was pointing at. After you take your first castle, your next castle, the silver keeps increasing incrementally by 1,000. So the second castle you want to take would cost you 2,000 silver. Then after that, 3,000 silver, so on and so forth. Next to silver is copper. What copper is used for is to stop you from being spied upon, and it allows you to spy on other players. So if you see a castle next to you, you want to check out what's going on there, you can send over a spy. You may send him over, say, with 1,000 copper. If he goes there and that other player only has 100 copper, you're going to get a report back on everything that's going on in that castle. If that player had 1,500 copper, you lose your copper, he captures your spy, he loses the matching amount of copper that you sent to him, but he gets told that you sent him a spy. So, and in this game, that can be an act of war. So we've covered. Right here we have silver, copper, our ability to advance our citizens, how many citizens we have available. Next to that is our ore number. This is what is in our storehouses currently. Our stone number and our wood number. Next to that is a little like a shield. That's how we're going to enter into our castle to advance our warehouses and advance our storehouses and our resource capability. At the bottom, there's a bunch of little icons. This one's for castle. Next to it is our units. Now the castle icon will just take you back to the screen here. The units is how you go in to look at what you have going on. So if I click on this right now, currently I have 50 spearmen, 95 swordsmen, 200 armored horse, 30 lancers, and 84 handcarts. I have guys out there that are attacking, and below it, it shows what my troops are doing, where they're attacking, what they're doing. Next to that is the map. When I click on the map, it shows where my guys are at. So right now, I've joined an alliance. I just joined it today, and we'll cover that here in a second. Because you start out just a solo player, and then you begin to build. My guy, if I click on him, it will show you here, there's writing on it, and this will happen when you're looking at other players. If you click on them, they tell you stuff about them. It says this belongs to a novice player and is protected until 10/28. So I'm still under beginner protection, which lasts for 2 weeks. As soon as you start the game, that clock starts. That way the big guys can't take you out. I have 2 castles going already. I'm going to try and get a third before my protection's out. And you start out, this was my first castle, this is my second castle. As you advance your castles, you get a number below it with your point score. Usually you start out with like 13, 14 points at the beginning, and you build up from there. This castle's worth 179 points. Each time you level up, like say you increase your warehouse for wood, or you increase your woodcutter, that advances it 1, that increases this number 1. So this guy's worth 179, this guy's 95. Once you get, I believe it's above 105, the castles, which are just basically gray, will get rooftops on them. The reason I'm bringing this up is because I've played this game before. I've had a lot of fun with it. I just use it as a, from time to time, like I said, morning I'll put a couple minutes in. At night when I'm trying to go to sleep, I'll play a little bit. At lunchtime I'll play it. And it's a time passer. It's an escape from reality for me. And it's just something I enjoy doing, and apparently a lot of other people do as well. I'm really into these strategy games, and this is a long-term development game. I think I said this at the beginning, and I can't stress this enough. This is not a game that you're going to get onto. This is not a first-person shooter. This is not something that's over in a couple minutes. This is something that is going to last you literally months and months if you're playing it right and you get in with a good alliance. The object here is to handle the entire server. This server that I'm on, I believe, is USA 7, which means it's tracking, I think it's on Eastern time zone for when the server, there's a server sunrise and a server sunset. And server sunrise is when you normally would begin your attacks at your daytime on the server. After server sunset, you don't want to do attacks because the troop strength of the defensive troops increases, and a lot of times you will lose those battles if you try and do that. I got to touch the screen here to stop that from timing out. So these are little tips I'm telling you, and if this is your first time playing it and it seems like I'm hitting you with a lot of information, as you begin playing it, this will all start to make sense. And what I'm doing here is setting a lot of you way ahead because, again, I've been playing this for a while. I go into some of these forums on some of these alliances, and people have no concept of how to play this game. So what this does for you is pay attention to what's going on here, and you're going to be eons ahead of a lot of players out there. So to start out, when you first start out again, the trick to this game is get your resources up as fast as you can, and get your guy producing resources. So the very first way to do that, we're going to click on that castle icon. You need to advance your buildings. So down here at the bottom we have wood store, quarry, stone store, ore mine, and ore store. And above wood store we have lumberjack. That's our resources. So if I increase lumberjack, my guy begins to develop more wood faster. If I increase the quarry, we get more stone faster, ore mine, more ore faster. I tend to advance those. The very first thing I do usually is I up the stores, and then I begin to advance those. So I'll advance the store by 1, advance the stone store by 1, and advance the ore store by 1. Then I'll go back in and maybe I'll bump the lumberjack up. The reason I'm doing that is because you start out with like the capability of storing 120 resources per each resource. You need to get that up because you can go out there and do what's called farming, where you attack other castles, and you're going to bring back resources, and you could be bringing back 100 resources at a time. So you need to get those storehouses up so they can handle that capability. If your storehouse is at 120 resources and you max that out, anything you bring in, you lose. That's why you want to get those storehouses up. Once storehouses are up, start advancing your capability of bringing resources in. While you're doing that, you need to keep an eye on your farm. What your farm does is it advances those citizens so that you can have a more capability of advancing things and to provide more troops. So, speaking of resources, we're going to go into our map. So what would happen, and the reason why these are flashing is because I'm attacking them. I had something going on here. So, and here's something else. This is a little trick. As you advance, this is a little advanced trick. As you get your second castle, a lot of people don't know how to switch between their castles. You touch the top of your screen, and your castles come up. It tells you how much overall you have, your summary of every troop or resource that you have, and then your castles are in order. Right now I have 2 castles, so if I select the other one, I'm now handling that castle. If I go back to this one, Repo 1, I'm now handling Repo 1. Okay, so I've got Repo 1. And I want to, I'm brand new at the game. I just got my guy going. When you start out, you're going to start out with 4 swordsmen, and you'll have like 2 hand carts and some spearmen. Spearmen are defensive troops. Do not do attacks with them. Leave them be. Swordsmen are offensive troops, and that is good for an attack, but you only have 2 hand carts. During daytime hours, when I was talking about server sunrise, server sunset, and when you do an attack, it will tell you when your troops are going to land, if they're going to land during the daytime or if they're going to land at night. When you do an attack during the daytime, you can bring back resources by doing that. So, I'm on Repo 1, which is this castle right here. When I'm on the map screen, upper left-hand corner, if I touch that button up there, that will center the map upon the castle that I'm on. If I go to the upper right-hand corner and touch that button up there, that icon, it brings me into a larger map that just shows what this does. This allows me to see who my allies are, where my enemies are at, because you can color code in the alliance who's friendly, who's a foe, who's what they call a NAP, which is a non-aggression pact. These are terms you'll see popping up when you're looking on the forums and talking to other players. So if you see somebody write NAP, that's non-aggression pact, that's a NAP. You don't attack those guys. They're similar to an ally. They really usually don't fight with you, but they leave you alone, you leave them alone. You fight with one of them, and you're going to start all kinds of problems. The yellow on the map is always your fellow alliance, and the green on the map is allies that you have with you. The white on the map, those are your castles, and the one with a circle around it is the one that you're selected under. So, we'll touch that button again. We're going to go back to our localized map. I'm going to show you how to do what they call farming. Farming is a great way to bring in resources. Most new players don't understand this. They'll get an alliance. It'll be explained, but not in great detail. I want to show you guys really quickly how to get resources going fast. So, first thing you're going to do, you're going to log in. You're going to go in. You're going to advance your wood store. You're going to advance your stone store. You're going to advance your ore store. I would actually try and get those up to level 3 as quick as you can, and then maybe start to advance the lumberjack and the quarry and the ore mine to advance those resources faster. But what we're going to do is show you a quick way to do this. So if I select this free castle next to me, a screen pops up. And that screen is in my attack screen. This you won't see at first. This is attacking with the last formation. Since you've never done an attack before, that won't be there. Once you start doing attacks, that screen will come up. And that's utilized to do quick attacks. So I'm going to hit the attack button, which you will have. And I'm going to select 1 swordsman. And I'm going to select 1 handcart. Now, an arrival time shows up down here, and you see the sun. That tells me it's happening during the daytime. My arrival time is today at 11:03 p.m. So I'm well within my range because I know that server sunrise is 2:30 a.m. for me, or server sunset. I'm sorry, that's when the defense is double. So as long as I'm attacking, I don't like pushing my attacks much past 2 o'clock because in this game, when they start an attack, that attack usually lasts for 10 to 15 minutes, and when that happens, what can happen to you is your attack will continue past server sunset. The defensive capabilities go up and you'll lose your troops. So avoid attacking too close to that server sunset. So right now I've selected my 2 guys, and then I scroll down here to the bottom and there's an attack icon. I hit attack, and that attack took place. Now if I hit the map button again, you'll see that that castle is now flashing. Now I'm going to come over here and select this castle, which I'm not under attack with. And now I get attack with last formation. It shows my sword and my handcart. I just touch that again, tell it OK, and it'll automatically pop back to the map. This is a quick way of doing things and getting what we call farming going. Now those guys are going to go out. It was maybe a 10-15 minute travel time, whatever it is. They're going to do their attack. Within a half an hour, they'll be back. When they come back, when you're first starting out and you got these castles next to you, they're going to bring back maybe 100 resources each. If nobody else is around you is farming, you use that money to advance your store capabilities, advance your resource capabilities, and then you're going to need to go in and increase your technologies. There's a library, which I'm going to show you here in a minute, and you want to advance your guy up to get armored horses and then your swordsmen, and you're going to use those guys to go out and do farming, and you want to get to where you have 50 to 100 of those guys, and you can just go out and do hit 50 castles at one time, and when you come back, you have max resources at that point, and that's how you'll be able to come out of a 2-week turnaround and have 3 castles sitting there. If you just play it and go on and click and rely on the castle to bring in your resources, at the end of your 2 weeks, you'll be sitting there with 1 castle. You won't be advanced like what this guy is doing right now. Okay, I hope this doesn't get over your head. If this does, just a little side note here, this is on my YouTube channel. My email is my 2 cents on things, all words, no numbers or anything, my 2 cents, like my 2 pennies, my 2 cents on things at gmail.com. If you got a question, shoot me a message. I'll try and help you. If you come over to USA Server 7, my guy is the Repoed Demon, like the repossessed demon, the Repo Demon. Shoot me a message. Say, hey, I saw you over there on YouTube. I got this question. Just let me know you saw me on YouTube so I know that I'm dealing with somebody that saw this video. And shoot me a message. I'll try and help you out. If I can do something for you, I will. Because ultimately, it's a fun game. It's something to kill some time with. You'll have a lot of fun with it. So we're going to continue here across the bottom. So we've covered castle. Our units shows what we have in stock, which we covered. The map shows the map. From the map, we do our farming. We see what's going on. You can move around you to see what's close by. Next to that is your messages. So I'm going to click on my messages. Now, these are messages players have messaged me. I've messaged them. For example, this, and I just go into this guy here, K9. He's in. A lot of times when players will message you, they'll put their name in it and your name, and it's a way of tracking messages. If you're a busy guy like this guy is, he's at the head of this alliance I just joined, so he's probably doing a lot of messaging. This is a way to track what you've got going on. And again, these are tips that are more advanced. So if you start to apply these early on, you're going to be a much more advanced player as you play this game. You're going to have a lot more fun playing it. So we're going to click on the message stream here between me and K9. Now what happened here was he was reaching out to me. What he was doing is he's trying to build his alliance. So you start out, you're just an individual guy. That's it. You don't have any group you belong to or anything else. The trick here is you either join up to an existing alliance or form your own. And that's a group of players who are going to bond together, fight under the same flag, get out there, and try and conquer the server. This server is a constantly growing map, and there's a lot of players on it. There's a lot of experienced players. So it begins to get really difficult to actually do that, and it gets into some pretty interesting battles. And the one thing you got to be careful of, this game could really start taking some time. I put limitations on what I do on it. I spend a few minutes here, a few minutes there, and I play with it at night a little bit. But I try to avoid getting into some of these leadership roles where it'll actually start to become like a part-time job if you weren't careful. You're going to spend a lot of time on this trying to solve problems and do diplomacy between alliances and everything else. Now this guy here, so he sent me a message, wanted to know if I was interested in joining their alliance. He sent me that a few days ago. Be polite on this game. Don't be a jerk. You start being a jerk, you're going to get, they're going to boot you out quick, and people will reset you, and you're not going to have fun in the game. Be polite, treat people with respect, and the game's a lot of fun. So, I put in there, appreciate the offer. I'm holding off right now. And don't be afraid to tell people this. If someone says, hey, you want to join my alliance when you're a new player, and you say, yeah, I'm not really sure what I want to do yet, and they start being a problem, you don't want to be in their alliance anyways. You want to be in something you're comfortable with. And there's a lot of good players out there who are all about respect and about playing the game in its true form of having teamwork together, having fun with it, being respectful, keeping the swearing to a minimum. That kind of a thing. And that's, for the most part, those are usually the alliances you want to be in. Some players are, they're more on the rough edge, and they want a more, for lack of a better term, a hard-ass alliance, and some of those alliances are out there, and you just want to make sure you don't get hooked up with one of those if you're not that kind of player. So, I thanked him for his offer. He responds, he thanks me for getting back to him and saying that he respects my answer. And this is exactly what I'm telling you. He offered me something. He's got a growing alliance right by me. It was a good offer. But I told him, I want to chill out for a little bit and just see, and then I'll get back to you. And respectfully. He comes back, tells me this. I gave it a few days. I said, I'd like to join if the offer still stands. He said, yes, it does. He apologized for the little lack of time getting back to me. I think it took him almost a day. Sends me the message. It sends me an invitation. I accept the invite. Now I'm in that alliance. So that's in my messages. That's how that stuff works. And each one of these is a different message stream from somebody or somebody I sent out. Next to this is my reports. When I select the reports button, you're going to go in here and you're going to see a shield. This is for if one of your castles falls under attack. So if that's off, you've got problems. Usually that doesn't fire off. Next to this is your attack sequence. So if you select this, this will tell you what attacks you got going on. You can go back through and see what ones were wins. The greens are all good wins. Reds would be you lost something. Next to this is transfers. So this tells you what you brought back. So if I click on like one of these, it tells me that that guy went out, he was on a farm, and he only brought back 34 of each resource. So obviously somebody else is farming those resources. Next to this is a little quill, like a pen. This is what's happening when you're in your library, and we'll cover this in a minute. This is when you advance your stuff. So in the library is where you would advance your technologies. As each technology advances, it'll give a report on it. Anytime you want to clear a report, like if I go here, just hit the delete button, tell it OK, and that report will wipe out, zero out, and ready for the next sequence. Next to this, I am having a brain fart here. I've got attacks, transfers. This should be my technologies. Honestly, I don't remember what that one is, and it's probably, usually they're not that important. Really, you want to keep an eye on your attacks. The other ones, what happens to your castle, your attacks for tracking, and over here, your spies. So what this does over here, this one here, tells you what's going on with your spies. So if you send a spy out, this is where your spy report is going to show up. And if your spy gets captured, and this is covering that copper we were talking about earlier, it will show up here. You'll see your spy, and he'll have bars over his face, and it'll tell you that he got captured. If your spy gets captured, whoever captured him now gets a report saying they got a spy, and then they know who spied on them. And again, that can create a war. So you want to be very careful what you're doing with your spy. Beyond reports, we go to our alliance. Now, the alliance I'm in is called Canadian Loyalty. This gives you, if I click on profile, that's the profile of the alliance. So this tells me a little bit. Usually these guys will put something in there telling about what's going on, what kind of alliance they are. They'll usually list who's their diplomat, who's a leader. They put links in there. This is a well thought out alliance. These guys have done a really good job. I'm very impressed with it. I literally just joined them today. Did some browsing, and I'm just impressed with how they're running things, and they seem like a class act. They're clean on their stuff. I mean, you get stuff. Usually every alliance has what they call a bar, and if you're a kid and you're playing this, stay out of the bar. That's usually, that's usually where the adults are in there. You get the stuff, they're saying stuff. Just play the game, have fun with it. You don't need to get all involved in that. Nothing important ever happens there. That's usually just people being dirty. So then they have their roles listed here below. And you can copy the alliance link. Like if someone was attacking you from alliance, you could copy the alliance link, and then you go talk to one of your friends, and you can paste that link over there and say, hey, these guys were attacking me. This was the alliance. This is their position and rankings, and if you select on position and rankings, it'll show you the alliances above and below them, and you can scroll through. They're listed as green because that's you. So whatever alliance you're in will go through that way. And then you can search for alliances up there. There's a little magnifying glass. Touch that, type in a name, and it'll tell you where that alliance is at. So after alliance, we're going to go to our forum. The forums is how people communicate on here. Now the forums are open to any players. A lock next to the forum means that you can't make changes on that forum. It's a locked out forum. The open ones, you can communicate on there with other players. This one has, like, here's the Canadian Beavers pub. That's where they will do their talk, and then they have an early bird cafe. And it just depends on the alliance, what they call their pub or their bar, and each alliance handles everything differently. It's based off their leadership. This one has something cool. They have Member of the Week. I haven't seen that one before. I like it. Basically, they're calling out somebody who does something good. So if you click on there, they are telling you that if they see somebody who's helping other players out, somebody who's being a good team player, they're going to give them a prize, which is resources, which helps advance you. And they've already listed their first one that they saw, and they send them a reward for helping everybody out and being a good player. Like I said, each alliance is a little different how they handle things, but this is something that when you post in here, everybody in the alliance sees it, just so you know. A little thing to know, people will create alternate accounts. They call them alts on here. And they do that to spy. So somebody might create an alternate account and try and get invited into your alliance, and they may be an alliance that's planning on attacking yours. They got full access to anything that's on this forum. So if you're on here putting stuff going, oh, I've got X amount of troops, I've got X amount of silver, and I'm going to attack, and I'm going to do this, a spy from the alliance you're ready to attack could be recording all that and getting it over to his friends. And this is where this game starts to get deep. I'm going to try and keep some of this to just a minimum, that stuff that you can discuss more with the alliance when you join it, or if you've got a question about something, like I said, shoot me a message. I'll try and help out. So basically, that's what's going on here underneath the forum. And then profile is my profile. So here we have my guy, the Repo Demon. The signs on either side of them, every alliance has that. This one has maple leafs because it's the Canadians. I'm not a Canadian, but like I said, these guys are close to me, and they seem like a pretty cool group. Every alliance usually puts a uniform out, and what that is they want you to put that on either side of your name. That way, when you're looking at a map, you can kind of see what's going on without color coding things. You can look and just tell by uniforms. Holy cow, I've got this huge clan growing up next to me, and I got this other alliance over here. So, and look at my alliance, and look where my guys are spread out. It's a way of quick tracking on a map, see what's going on, easily identify allies and enemies. So a lot of them will require you to have a uniform on. This tells me my number of castles. This tells me my points that I've got currently right now, sitting at 275. My position in the rankings on the entire server, I'm about 2,500 out. And gold coins. Don't waste your money on gold. Gold basically will speed things up. You do not need gold to play this game. But if you're getting like a lot of advertisements popping up, I can tell you this right now, if you spend $1 on gold, those advertisements go away for a while. So sometimes it's worth spending $1 and just getting some gold and not having to deal with the advertisements. This is where you'll log out. Global Forum is, I don't even go on that. That's for going on there and talking with our players and development questions and things like that. I mean, feel free to browse. Frequently asked questions. Honestly, most of what I told you is in there, and I've covered it here, and hopefully in 20-some, 30-some minutes. So this is getting to be a very long video, longer than I normally do. I'm going to wrap it up. Last thing, vacation. You'll see things talking about people who do VM. VM is vacation mode. If you go on vacation mode, you cannot be attacked while you're on vacation mode. Some players will try and hide out there, but it's something to know. Like if you're going to go out of town, and the reason why you have it there is if you spend days and days getting this thing set up, and then you need to go on vacation, you're not going to have internet where you're at. You don't want to not be able to keep an eye on your castles and have somebody come in and wipe you out. So vacation mode is a backup to protect you. So I'm going to go touch back in the castle here. And then if you're on this screen, you just touch the shield again, and that will take you back. Touch the shield. That takes you back to your home castle screen. All right, guys. I hope this helps. Try this out. Have a lot of fun with it. It's a great game. You take care.